What's going on, guys? T-Mart here, and today we got a massive new feature in Pokemon Go. It's extremely exciting. We now have the ability to appraise the value of our Pokemon in the game, which is really exciting. Now, when you appraise a Pokemon, basically you're finding out where the IVs lie, how good the IVs are. I'm sure you guys have heard me talk about IVs before. Individual values are basically hidden stats in the game. If you guys don't understand what those are, I'll link a video down in the description explaining what they are. But basically, this new feature allows us to find out the IVs without all the complicated processes of putting in information and numbers and data into online calculators and that sort of thing. And it kind of makes it accessible to everybody. You can find out what range your Pokemon's in directly from the game and find out if it's something you should think about keeping and powering up and evolving, or if it's something you should think about throwing away. So let's check out this new feature. Now, if you want to appraise one of your Pokemon, all you're going to have to do is you go into your Pokemon list, click on the Pokemon you want to appraise. There's a menu button down the bottom right. You click on that and then click on appraise, and you should see your team leader pop up. Now, obviously, there are 3 different team leaders for each of the 3 teams, but each of those team leaders have specific sayings that they say that mean a certain thing. It gets a little bit confusing here, so I'm going to put infographics up on the screen so you guys can see exactly what your team leader means when he or she says what they say. So you guys can see the first thing they're to say is, hi, let's take a look at your Aerodactyl. So the next thing that they talk about is going to be talking about how good the IVs are overall. If they're in the 80 to 100% range, the 69 to 79% range, and so on. You guys can see on screen, I'm displaying the different things that they'll say for all 3 of the teams, for you to be able to tell exactly what your overall IVs are. So that's the first thing they'll tell you. The next thing that they'll tell you is what your strongest asset is. So IVs are split up into 3 things. There's attack, there's defense, and then there's stamina or HP or health or whatever you want to call it. So it'll tell you which one of those is your strongest, or if you have multiple of the strongest. You guys can see here it says that the HP on my Aerodactyl is my strongest, but then it also says that the attack is equally as strong. So my HP and my attack are tied in terms of what are the best stats that this thing has. Now, next up, the third thing they're going to tell you about is kind of a more detailed look into your IVs. So basically, this saying is going to say that at least one of your IVs is perfect, or one of them is in that 13 to 14 range, or maybe all of your IVs for attack, stamina, and defense are below 8. It'll tell you that it's bad. So that's kind of like the third thing that they tell you. And then finally, the fourth thing that they'll sometimes tell you is if your Pokemon is kind of unique in terms of its size. So you guys can see here, it's going to say your Aerodactyl is rather sizable. That's for sure. That's because he's an XL. If we go look at his actual stats, he weighs 82 kilograms and it's got a little XL above him. So he's an extra large Pokemon. Right now, that doesn't really mean anything, but they'll tell you about the size if it's got something unique there. So now that you guys understand how this works and what the certain sayings from certain team leaders means, let's take a look at an example so you guys can see how you can use this to your advantage. So this is my Lapras right here. As you guys can see, I've renamed it to some weird numbers because I know exactly what the IVs are, so it'll help us out with this tutorial. It's an 82% overall perfect IV Lapras. Its attack stat is 11, its defense stat is 11, and its HP is 15. Let's take a look at what our girl has to say about this bad boy. All right, so we're going to click on appraise. She says, hi, let's take a look at it. First of all, she says, overall, it simply amazes me. It can accomplish anything. We know from our previous things that I showed you guys that sentence means it's in the 80 to 100% perfect overall range, which is true. It's 82% perfect overall. Next up, she's going to say its HP is its strongest feature. Well, obviously this is true. It's got 11 attack, 11 defense, and 15 HP, so she's right there. Next up, it says, I'm blown away by its stats. Wow. We know from our previous images that I showed you guys, that means at least one of the IVs is perfect. That would be our HP. It's a 15. 15 is the highest IV you can get for a stat. And then finally, it doesn't say anything about the size because the Lapras isn't anything special. You guys can see it weighs 213 kilograms, but that's not extra large or small or extra small or anything else like that, so she didn't say anything. So basically, that's like, if I didn't already know what my IVs are, now I know that it's at least 80% perfect, which is really good. I know I have at least one perfect stat when it comes to attack, defense, and HP, and I would know, hey, this Lapras is really good. I should definitely keep it. Now, obviously, for a Lapras, you're going to keep it no matter what, but if you use this on things like Pidgeys or things like Growlithe or things like anything else out in the world that's a little bit more common, you're going to be able to tell which ones are better than other ones, and you're going to be able to know which ones you should keep, which ones you should focus on powering up and evolving, and overall, you're going to have much better Pokemon. Overall, this was a fantastic update. It gives everybody a quick way to be able to access IVs. If you're super into it, you can quickly see if the Pokemon is in the good range or not, and then you can go in and use calculators and find out exactly what your IVs are. Or if you aren't that into it, but you still want to know which Pokemon are better than others, at least it gives you a basic brief overview of what you can expect out of the hidden stats of that Pokemon, which I think is really cool. And I think that this overall means two things. Number one is that Niantic is truly listening to us. So IVs are something that people all over Reddit and all over the internet that are serious about this game have been obsessed with since it was released. So the fact that they implemented a feature where you can do it without using all these calculators and kind of backdoor methods is really cool, because it shows that they're listening to the community and they see what we want and what we like, which I'm super fond of, and I hope they keep up with that. Now, the second thing that I think is kind of notable about this is the fact that these team leaders will mention the size of your Pokemon. So if you guys don't know, some Pokemon in this game weigh more than others. Some of them are going to be bigger than others. Some will be extra large, some will be just large, some will be small, and some will be extra small. Up until this point, that's never had an effect. It's never been important. It was like a weird little quirky thing that nobody really paid attention to. But now your team leader is telling you how big your Pokemon is, which makes me think it might be an even bigger feature in the future. You know, maybe smaller Pokemon are going to be more agile and they'll be better at, dodging attacks. Maybe bigger Pokemon are going to end up having heavier blows, or, I don't know what's going to happen there, but it seems like the size of your Pokemon is going to start playing some sort of a role in the battling and in how good they are. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that, but it's just kind of a little weird thing that I noticed. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thumbs up if this video helped you guys out, and I will catch you guys later. Peace out.